Hi, you probably already know that I believe in spreading the good news of the grown-up gap year, and part of that good news is that you can stay in a nice accommodation pretty much anywhere in the world for $50 or less per night, and sometimes way less. And you do that by staying in hostels. If all you know about staying in hostels is what you saw in the movie, stick around, because I'm about to change your budget travel life. Yes. But first, if you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Stephanie Perry. When I was 41, I quit my job to travel on my savings. Now I'm a year-round house sitter, and Grown Up Gap Year A to Z is my way of helping you do the same thing. If your dream is to quit your job and travel the world for a year, make sure you subscribe to my channel and ring that notification bell, and you'll receive notification when I post a new video. Okay, I know from previous experience that whenever the word hostel comes up, there's always a group of people who are like, no, 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 never. It's dangerous. I saw the movie. If you're one of those people, it's okay. You don't have to do it. Just go to the description, click the link. I have a list of 50 cities where you can stay in an Airbnb for $500 a month. That'll help you, okay? For everybody else who's interested, let's talk hostels. More specifically, let's talk staying in hostels when you're over 30. I'm actually over 40, but this is an inclusive channel. You're welcome here, 30-somethings. What is a hostel? Basically, a hostel is a hotel where more than one person stays in a room. A lot of hostels have bunk beds in most rooms, but they also will have private rooms as well. And a lot of hostels will have a communal kitchen. So you can buy your own food, you'll have your own container to put things in the refrigerator, and you can cook for yourself. The most expensive places that I've found to stay in hostels were in Western Europe. In Paris, I think I spent $50-something per night on a dorm room bed in a hostel. But a lot of the hostels that I stayed in Southeast Asia were around $16 per night. So price is the reason that I originally started staying in hostels, but there are other reasons why I continue to use hostels. First of all, nowadays hostels are really catering to digital nomads. So if you need good Wi-Fi, you need a workspace, and you need a semi-quiet place to hang out for a few hours during the day while you do some work, hostels are the way to go. Hostels aren't going to charge you separately for internet access like a lot of hotels will. And as I said, modern hostels nowadays will even come with a separate, quieter workspace. Hostels also do better than regular hotels at group tours. In Guadalajara, my hostel had a bus trip to Lucha Libre, or to Mexican wrestling, which is muy divertido. At a regular hotel, your concierge will probably give you really good advice on where to go, but they're not going to go with you like they will at a hostel. And they're not going to bring a group of friends for you either, which is the other benefit of staying in a hostel. You're going to make friends. You're going to meet new people. They're right there. They're people with the same interests as you. They're travelers who are in town who want to see the same stuff that you want to see, and they invite you to come along. Hostels are going to give you a travel experience that your regular hotel just is not. So how do you stay comfortably in a hostel when you're grown up? My first piece of advice is to pick a female-only room if you're a female. A snoring man or two in your room can ruin your night's sleep and can ruin everything you have planned for the next day. Lots of hostels have female-only rooms. Some of them charge you an extra $1 per night more for a female-only room, but most don't. Most have the same rate. My second piece of advice for grown-ups staying in hostels is to beware the rooftop or lobby bar. Now, I don't automatically say no to a hostel that has a rooftop bar or a lobby bar, but I make sure that I'm in the mood for that kind of atmosphere before I book there. There are plenty of quiet hostels, but sometimes you will be in the mood to stay in a more fun environment. Just make sure you're booking the right type of hostel for the right mood that you're going to be in. Which leads to my next piece of advice. Don't book your hostel too far in advance. Sometimes when people are planning their gap year or their year of full-time travel, they want to plan every step in advance. Number one, that's really hard on your pockets because something is going to change. You are going to have to make some adjustments, and those cancellation fees can really pile up. But also because your needs will change as you go along. Things that you thought were priorities in the beginning of your trip are not going to be priorities at the end. For example, when I got started out staying in hostels, I thought that a dorm room that had an en-suite bathroom was the way to go. I didn't want to have to walk out of my room into a hallway to use the bathroom or the shower. What I know now is that the demand for that en-suite bathroom is always going to outweigh the supply. You're still going to have to go out into the hallway. So now I don't even consider that when I'm booking a hostel. My next tip for grown-ups in hostels is to read the reviews. I primarily book hostel stays through two different sites. I always research through hostelworld.com. Those travelers are more savvy about staying in hostels and their reviews are more honest. And then I also look up prices on Hotels.com. Sometimes hostels on Hotels.com would be a little cheaper than Hostel World, so I would book through them. But the Hotels.com hostel reviews tend to not be very helpful. But I like booking through Hotels.com because you got your 10th night for free. What I didn't know, this is one of my travel regrets. In my Q&A video, Sheeta asked me did I have any gap year regrets? This is another one. I regret that I didn't know that you could get cash back on a portion of your hotel stay if you booked it through Hotels.com. So not only can you get your 10th night free, but you can get a cash back through Ebates. I talk about Ebates all the time. I'm a budget traveler. Every dollar is important to me. So go ahead and click the link in the description, sign up for Ebates using my link, and then when you book on Hotels.com using the link that Ebates gives you, you'll get cash back. Now, like I mentioned, hostels do have private rooms, so you don't have to stay in a dorm room just to stay in a hostel. You can still get the advantage of the group tours and the group dinners. I found for the most part that a private room in a hostel isn't much cheaper than staying in a hotel room, but you'll still get a good portion of the hostel experience. Do you need to do anything differently when you stay in a hostel? The main difference between a hostel and a hotel room is that you need to lock your stuff up. Most hostels have lockers in the rooms, and I wouldn't book one that didn't have it. A lot of them have large lockers underneath the beds, or some have wall lockers, and you have to supply your own lock. Definitely don't be like me. Bring your own lock and make sure that it's a combination lock, not a lock with a key. I got to Cape Town, South Africa, without my locks. I don't know what happened to them. And my hostel mate, who was from Johannesburg, said, "I'm going back home. My trip is over. Take mine." So she gave me her locks. They're locks with keys. And so I was like really paranoid about, what if I lose the key? I'm going to have to be searching around for some bolt cutters. I ended up stuffing the locks into a crevice of my backpack and then thinking I lost them. I couldn't find them. So I spent my entire time in South Africa not locking my stuff up in the hostels. Nobody took my stuff, but don't do that. Don't do that. Make sure you keep a lock, preferably a combination lock, with you so that you can lock up your belongings when you're in a dorm room. In the United States, we think of hostels as being only for young people, so it can be a little intimidating to go into a hostel as a grown-up. So that's why I'm making this video. I want you to know that you're welcome. I've stayed in, 50, maybe 100 different hostels in the past 5 years, and I've never felt or been treated like I didn't belong there. The whole hostel concept is that you're welcome there. Staying in hostels is really common for European and some Asian travelers. And so it's not even considered a big deal to be in a hostel when you're 30 something or 40 something or 50 something. I don't know that I've ever looked around in a hostel and been like, I'm the only grown up here. And I've also never been treated or looked at like I didn't belong there. I stayed in a hostel in Johannesburg that had a nice evening get together. A lot of hostels have, theme nights every week. They had a wine tasting night. I went to it. Everybody's chatting and, in groups, just talking about their travels and where they went today and where they're going to go tomorrow. I have my Cabernet. I sit down in this plastic white chair and I just slowly start sinking down to the floor. My chair is breaking. I'm a fat black woman. You're not going to miss me, but nobody cared. Nobody stopped. Nobody said like, oh my gosh. In like 2 seconds flat, the guy who worked there came over, switched my chairs out, and the conversation didn't even skip a beat. So don't let your age stop you from staying in hostels. I absolutely recommend them. Make sure you get your Ebates link in the description and get your rebate on. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like it, please like it, and I'll see you next time.